I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for Life in UK test part 639 while doing ECU tendon training. That one is here. And if you participate in the ECU tendon training, that is at your own risk. We're going to do it in the second half of the video. Now driving. In the UK, you must be at least 17 years old, so we're going over the whole book just at the end now. Again. You must be at least 70 years old to drive a car or motorcycle, and you must have a driving license to drive on public roads. To get a UK driving license, you must pass a driving test, which tests both your knowledge and your practical skills. You need to be at least 16 years old to ride a moped, and there are other age requirements and special tests for driving large vehicles. If you wish to ride an electric bike, you must be 14 or over. You do not need a license as long as your bike meets the government's electrically assisted pedal cycle (EAPC) requirements. For more information, visit gov.uk/electric-bike rules. Drivers can use their driving license until they are 70 years old. After that, the license is valid for 3 years at a time. In Northern Ireland, a newly qualified driver must display an R plate for a restricted driver for 1 year after passing the test. If you have a license from another country, you may use it in the UK for up to 12 months. To continue driving after that, you must get a UK full driving license. To check that you can drive in the UK with a non-Great Britain license, visit gov.uk/driving-non-GB-license. If you are a resident in the UK, your car or motorcycle must be registered at the Driver and Vehicle License Agency, DVLA. Okay, let's make that two things here. We have to know it all, but these things which are maybe a bit too hard to just now go through reading, like you have to be 17 years old, or for electric bike 14, or 16 for, what is it even? For moped. The EAPC, that is important for electrical assisted pedal cycle requirements. So for bike driving, EAPC, electrically assisted pedal cycle, you have to have an R if you're in Northern Ireland and have made your test just a year ago. If you're over 70, you have to renew your license every 3 years. And you can use your non-Great Britain license for 1 year, but there are more informations. And there is the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency, DVLA. DVLA. DVLA, Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency. And by that, a car or a motorcycle has to be registered at the DVLA. Maybe we're going to ask, right, where is your car registered? At the DVLA. What standard has your e-bike to get to be driven with 14 without any special requirements? EAPC. And who makes the taxes? HM Revenue and Customs, HMRC. DVLA, Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency. Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency. You must pay an annual vehicle tax, which cannot be passed on when a vehicle changes hands. If a vehicle is parked off the road and not being used, you must tell the DVLA by making a statutory off-road notification. SOR. Statutory off-road notification. SORN. SOR. SOR cannot be transferred if a vehicle is sold or given to a new owner. They're spending 3-4 lines just on that thing. They are not spending on other things 4-5 lines. Are there many cars parked off the road? SOR cannot be transferred if a vehicle is sold or given to a new owner. You must also have valid motor insurance. It is a serious criminal offence to drive without insurance. If your vehicle is over 3 years old, you must take it for a Ministry of Transport (MOT) test every year. MOT, Ministry of Transport. Are you going to ask, who is the Ministry of Transport? The MOT. What is the MOT doing? Something with motors. They're making the test that your car can still drive. It is an offence not to have an MOT certificate if your vehicle is more than 3 years old. You can find out more about vehicle tax and MOT, Ministry of Transport, requirements from www.gov.uk. That was what we have to driving. Now we're going through the whole book and we're looking at researching always for subjects about which we can make a presentation. We could do one about driving, but I don't really want to. The informations don't really fit for a good presentation. it is broad enough and enough subjects so that we can make a little overview, but I don't really what sense this overview would be making. We're saying some little things. We're thinking of Ministry of Transport, the certificate, the SOL maybe also, the driving vehicle licensing agency, DVLA. You have to have an R, and it already starts to get a bit. I don't know, I don't think so. But all these things, it doesn't really fit. But the other thing is, other people are doing also no videos about it. If people are looking for information, getting this information written here, if we are not perfect or not, that is quite good. It's a bit tempting to do it, but we have the informations. So why not do a video? Because it doesn't really fit. It's not really helpful overall. Not in the larger picture. In the next part, we're going to go on with your role in the community. If you're here to go through your role in the community, and where I want to do a video about it, I don't know really. It also doesn't really make that much sense. But these are so many different subjects, and a question which would be so difficult to people if they directly ask. I don't know if the expression is used in English ad hoc. If you ever asked directly, they probably just would stumble around, and even with a little preparation time, they wouldn't get much together. And if they would sit down and write something or actually think for weeks about it, it will be probably not as good as what is here. I would wish for something better, but I don't think it exists better. And even with weeks of work, it wouldn't be better possible. And as I said already around 150 parts ago, this is pretty good written here to bed. It's a very complex thing. So we want to do one video about how to be part of a community, how to whatever, and that is when you have the values and responsibilities, so basically be kind to others, and then also things like helping in schools or helping in local services, supporting political parties, maybe even donating or volunteer work and looking after the environment. It's not that good, but it's a very complex subject, and maybe people are interested in that, and we have information here. Let's take them. In the next video, we're going to start reading the last thing of this book, and then by that to prepare our video about how to live in the society in the United Kingdom. Then you can go directly to the next video, because here we're going to do just the ECU 10 training. If you participate in the ECU 10 training, let's set here on this. We use ECU 10 this year, so this was kind of the extender copy on there is down here to the 10. We're going to train that. If you participate, let's set here on this. We're doing the floodgate. Arms next to us, hands front to fist, and we're bringing these fists down, holding it for 1 to 2 seconds. And then up. Holding that for 1 to 2 seconds. Again down. And people will not look for it. There are not many people searching for an overall information to the driver's license driving in the United Kingdom. We're not going to go and say, I want to learn something about today, about the country, going this down and United Kingdom. And we're going up the last time. By floodgate here. Next exercise, we counterfeit managing, and we're going up. If people search for something for driving, they want to know what one thing, and not some broad overview about driving. And again down. So information we have there. These are not informations people are looking for. And again up. We're just going to waste the time, because we're going to watch that. But yes, maybe it gives them a broad overview, but they probably don't need that. They not are around looking for countries of the world. Let's give me a broad overview to, I looked it up, Antigua and Barbuda or Belize. We're not going to say, hey, today I want to learn something about the driving in Belize. Next exercise we're doing, I'm using a tennis racket. Now I have a few things to say. I'm using a tennis racket. The tennis racket is light. It has around 300 grams, but it has a long lever. So whatever you use, do it in accordance with our 3 rules. Our 3 rules are, Nico, take the lower arm and go over to the side slowly. 3 rules. The first one is, if there is pain, stop immediately. I should say that at the beginning maybe. So if there's pain, stop immediately. Second rule, go only as fast as you can go with a little bit of effort. So, just here. And that is it. And then back. And third rule is not overdo it. Not to overdo it. You just want to strengthen, not to exhaust. And whatever dumbbell weight, whatever you use, do it in accordance with 3 rules. So don't take something heavy. And that's anyway all that you on this. And the 3 rules again. Stop immediately if there's pain. Go only as fast as you can go with a little bit of effort. And don't overdo it. Now the other thing. People are not searching. And with the other. Just broadly, today I want to learn about Belize or Antigua and Barbuda. How the people are driving. They probably know the basics. To tell them then about e-bikes, that isn't really helpful. And they probably know already of the MRT. Maybe not. As it would be maybe a little helpful. But we're probably looking for that one specific thing. And we're just going to waste our time for 1 minute. Maybe not. Maybe such a broad overview is not bad. You could write it in the title, broad overview. And now we have a long arm out and to the outside. Now Antigua and Barbuda. We are learning with 47 countries of Commonwealth. And we're not just learning the list down, but we want to know where we are. And we couldn't find in the world map Antigua and Barbuda, and also not Belize. And maybe some other ones, but we still remember which we don't find. Usually I'm not able to find. Antigua and Barbuda, that is in the Caribbean. A bit southeast of the Dominican Republic. One of these islands though. 2 of these islands seems to be. And next exercise, no lower arm again, with the exercise. It's not a problem. It's not what we wanted to do. To the outside. And just onto the middle. And then back. And Belize is at the eastern part, at the south of Mexico. So Mexico southern of the United States is that. And then there's Mexico and then at the southeast. Maybe I should do the exercise probably. On the other side. Now I'm out and to the outside. There's Belize. It's not that big, so we couldn't find it. But guess the size of, I don't know. 3% of Mexico, 5% of Mexico. And also Antigua and Barbudas. Quite little. On a world map. Maybe for me it's quite big. And a little smaller. Just to the outside. Okay, we have now in the Caribbean 4 countries which are part of the Commonwealth so far. We are a quarter, the 5th. The Bahamas, they are south of Florida. Then the Dominican Republic, they are on that big island which has on the left side Haiti. And the last side of the outside. And then we're having southeast, there are a few more islands, and 2 of these islands, they are Antigua and Barbuda. And on the other, yes, we are. So just on the top. And up. And over. Back in. No, it's not in the Caribbean, but it has a coastline at the Caribbean. Belize. South of Mexico. And again over. Back and down. On the other side. On the top. And up. Over. In Africa we had Cameroon. But it's in the corner of Africa. No, from the other side you see it now. On the west side of Africa. In that corner. Maybe you should one day find out how the corner is called. And then we have the Gambia, that is more at the west, more north. Now we're taking just a sock. You can also use a t-shirt and just press onto it and bring the wrist up and down. And in the middle, just press onto it. Now with the other hand, press onto it. And then in the south, Botswana, no, South Africa. Again down, hold it into the middle, and relax. Now we had also Australia and Canada, and the Fiji. They are northeast of Australia, but far northeast, and Beirut, in between Thailand also. I thank you very much, and until next time.